Yo, what's up guys? Bill here, Classic Rock and Metal Review. Time to cover the monthly haul for February 2024. 21 titles, that's 20 CDs and one vinyl album. These go back to December, since we neglected to cover a monthly haul in January. So all of December and actually half of January, the front half, I'll cover that now. We'll do the back half next episode, next monthly haul. Do a little look-see, little discussion about each of these titles. These are just commercially available regular albums. As you guys probably already know, I cover bootleg news and new release news, and then show you my new acquisitions at the end of that episode. That's once a month. Box sets and super deluxe editions, I'm going to do that every other month now. And I'll show you, I got one new thing to show you. Actually two new things to show you there. That's also coming up in February. So let's get started. Guys, we got stuff here from as far back as 1966, some classic rock there, all the way up to 2001. There's all kinds of stuff, some 80s and 90s metal. I'm going to follow what I did once before, start doing it this way, because I don't know why, I just like it. We're going to go in chronological order with these all new to me releases, and a handful of these I've had in the past, so sort of reacquisitions, if you want to call them. All right, so first off, 1966. Fresh Cream, first album, and chock full of a lot of the songs you know from these guys, really. Almost like the greatest hits, in a sense. A lot of this stuff is on that live Detroit 67 Sun Vanishes bootleg I picked up about 6 months ago. Really good, and the sound quality on this is really good. I'm really happy with it. Not that I have anything to compare it to, but gave this a good listen in the living room stereo. Sounds really good. Fresh Cream. Up to 1967, never owned this one. Hendrix first. Axis, Bold as Love. Looks like a good one. A couple of my favorite songs from him are on here. Spanish Castle Magic, for one thing. What else? If 6 was 9, Little Wing. Pretty much a mandatory Jimi Hendrix, you know. Now, 1968, a couple of releases. Got Mike Bloomfield, Al Kooper, Steve Stills, Super Session from 68. They do a buy two, get one free in that bargain bin. So it was $24 all in. I got 9 of these CDs. This was one of them. And what a great version of this to have. 5 bonus tracks on there. 4, sorry. But looks really cool. I've never heard this guy. This will be a good one to check out. Now here's a reacquisition. I know what you're thinking. How do you not have this? Well, I did. I lent it out, never got it back. Although that was probably 25 years ago. You know, so I just kind of didn't even care about getting it back. And all of a sudden, there it is for a couple of bucks on eBay. It's the Beatles' White Album. And this is exactly the version that I had. And I'm not sure how many are even out there, honestly. Maybe there isn't even more than this one. I'm sure there's a Fat Boy box and all. But this is the version I had, gifted to me from my best buddy Rick for my birthday, if I'm remembering correctly. I think it was 89 or 90, so this might actually be a love you long time. It's been a damn long time since I heard this. Now, I did go ahead and put it on at one point. I heard maybe 6 or 8 songs of the first disc. Damn good stuff. Not telling you anything you don't know. 1970, Paul Kantner with Jefferson Airplane, Blows Against the Empire. Solo album, but with his backing band, I think, for the most part. And I gave this thing a listen, man. This is it's hard to place what kind of genre this is. Some songs very Airplane-like, others not at all. It's kind of in the psychedelic, you know, genre, I guess you would say. But interesting, you know, not bad, not great, but definitely different and definitely needs multiple listens to fully evaluate for sure. Never heard this one when David Crosby passed. Recommended by someone in the comments. David Crosby, If I Could Only Remember My Name, 1971 solo debut. A couple of these songs I know from seeing them in concert. Traction in the Rain. I think Cowboy Movie I might have heard once too. But I'm sure that's going to be killer. Now here's one. I have it up there behind you on vinyl. But that vinyl I only picked up a few years ago. It's used 6-8 years ago. Finally, a real copy. Now I did used to have it taped. I think off my cousin back in the 90s. You know. But that's long gone. And I've only played that vinyl once or twice. So this will be cool to hear this guy. I think it's a single CD. No, 2 discs. So good stuff there. 4-Way Street, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, 1971 live album. And speaking of which, another one, from 71 and another classic live album. The Allman Brothers Band at Fillmore East. Got your Capricorn Classics version there on that guy. Now, I used to have a double CD called the Fillmore Concerts. And really it was just, you know, I have a problem sometimes trying to listen to an album when it's an expanded version of the album and I don't even have the original to gauge anything by. So I ended up selling that off a few years back. So I'm finally just going back to the roots and getting the original, just basic 7-song original album. Because I don't think I ever heard this, you know. So when you're listening to that expanded version, it's not like it's the original version first and then extra tracks. It's kind of like extra songs right in the middle of the original. So I want to just hear the original, so there it is. Some more Crosby Nash. This is a 1971 concert called Another Stony Evening. It just didn't come out until 1998, but from a gig in 71. So this should be kind of cool. Although my favorite album from them is Wind on the Water from 75. So none of that stuff here yet. Lots of David solo, Graham solo, and then CSN stuff in there. But a couple other songs I don't recognize, so that should be cool. A couple of dollars from eBay, those last 3. All right, on to more of the bargain bin thing from the record store. Bachman Turner Overdrive, King Biscuit Flower Hour, 1974 show. And I'm not in love with this show. Half of it's really good. Some of it, it's just okay. Sound quality is not great for something being professionally recorded to be on the radio. A little just rough, you know. Although, I'll tell you what, there's a bonus track interview with Randy Bachman. And it's long. I mean, it's like 25 minutes, maybe a half hour long, I think. I found that to be just as interesting as the concert, honestly. It has a lot of great stories about where these song ideas came from, the beginnings of the band, how they got the record contract, and a real just random lucky sort of draw. That was a decent listen. I'll go back to it. It's not bad, but you know, just a little up and down with the sound quality on the concert. And it sounds like some bad editing too, where one song ends, chop, another song starts, you know, nothing in between, that sort of thing. Now here's a cool one. I had no Rick Derringer, all right? And this is what I love about, I'll repeat, what I love about these bargain bins. For a couple bucks, I'll buy anything that I remotely might like, you know, because what the hell? But I would never in 100 years go into a record store and head for the Rick Derringer section, you know. You just don't know what you're going to come across in that bargain bin. This is actually, as you can see, a twofer. So what do you have? His 75 Rick Derringer solo album called Spring Fever. And then from when they were calling themselves Derringer as a band from 77, Sweet Evil. I think that's probably my favorite of the two, although Spring Fever is pretty good too. And, not to be through with that band, they also had the 1976 album just called Derringer there too. That's also pretty good. And lo and behold, recognize this guy on drums. You know, I think I remember reading here and there that he was in this band, but kind of forgot, honestly, till I picked this up. Vinny Appice, the drummer. And you have bassist, is it Kenny Aronson? Is that his name? Who went on to be with HSAS, 84. So this is a good one. Really, all three are good. You know, I think my favorite might be Sweet Evil from 77. Moving on to 78, Eddie Money, Life for the Taking, his second solo album. First album I owned by him. I don't think I even have a greatest hits or anything. This one I listened to already. Robert Palmer, 1979, Secrets. Again, both of these were out of that 9 CD for $24 hunt. And this album's really good. I'm surprised how much I like this one. Mixes it up, man. It's pop, it's rock, it's reggae, kind of in that Joe Jackson sort of vein of reggae. But man, some good stuff. I'm surprised by that guy. Popping up to the 80s, 1985 specifically, GTR, the one and only album as far as I know. I used to have the 45 single of When the Heart Rules the Mind. I don't even know why I had it. I guess I kind of liked it and thought I'd like it more if I owned it. You know, it's a okay song, but never heard the whole album. So for $3, I think it was, hell yeah, let's check it out. GTR. Never owned this one. In fact, I only heard it once, and I'm not even certain I heard the whole thing. I just blew it off so fast. Really, in hindsight, I don't know why, but except to say that, you know, 86 was one of those years, man, where if you were in metal, you were either staying heavy, getting heavier, or you weren't. And in my eyes, Ozzy wasn't. More the look than anything else, I guess. But I love the title track. I'll admit that much. Ultimate Sin was great. After that, I just didn't care about the rest of the album. That was just off one listen back in '86. So I'm going to be doing a full review on this one coming up because I've heard it 3 or 4 times. Ultimate Sin, Ozzy, '86. Here's some Rat, next level for Rat for me. I just got Dancing Undercover last year. So now we got Reach for the Sky to check out from 1988. By all indications, they just start to slide, although Dancing Undercover was pretty solid. But this, I guess, sort of the beginnings of the slide of those guys. But you still got the original band there. Look forward to checking that out. Lynch Mob, I think this is a 1990 album. Wicked Sensation, their debut. I've heard about half of this. It's okay. I'm not in love with it, honestly. You know, not catchy enough for me. But it's rocking and all, definitely good. And hearing George play guitar is great. So I'm not going to put an evaluation out on this yet off a half a listen. And because they were like $2 each on eBay, also picked up Lynch Mob, self-titled second album. I think this one's 92. So, you know, hopefully dig these guys a little bit. But you know what? For $2, who cares? Just a way to check it out, right? And lastly, jump into 2001, the Government Mule, The Deep End, Volume 1. This was right after they lost original bassist Alan Woody and had a slew of various bass players come on to this studio album, which I think they also did a live DVD called The Deep End, possibly too. Not 100% sure if that was the title of it. I think it was. I'm not sure I ever heard this album. I think I only watched that video, you know, so that's where I'm at with that. So this should be cool. Man, Government Mule never let you down. Now, one thing on vinyl, and you know, CDs, it's not too bad. It's $25, $30. But when I was at that record store on that 9 for $24 collection there out of the bargain bin, they had this on vinyl for $12. Really good shape. So here's a nice way to hear Tom Johnson of the Doobie Brothers' first solo album. Everything you've heard is true. And man, I like it. And I don't know if I really liked it a whole lot the first listen. But I liked a few songs enough to want to hear it again pretty quickly. And I kind of like this thing, man. I know I'm in the minority. But man, I think it's a really damn good album. I think people were hoping they were going to get some, you know, Stampede Volume 2 out of this. It's 1979, man. You know how it is. You got to follow the trends a little bit. And that's kind of what happened here. But it's not necessarily bad at all. I mean, if you know, there's a little bit of that sort of disco percussion, if you want to call it that, in a couple of songs. I'm not going to deny that. But overall, you got a couple rockers, a couple mid-tempo things that Tom's famous for. A ballad you might not love, but I think is pretty good. So I'm really, really happy with this one. In fact, this might be a review coming up at some point pretty soon too. Tom Johnston from '79. And just a couple of things worth noting that I listened to quite a bit recently. Over the holidays, I just got this last Christmas and listened to it once or twice. Man, this is my favorite holiday album for sure. America's Holiday Harmony. I think it's from 2002. Just got it last Christmas. And man, I drove around with this on a couple long drives. So I heard it like twice that way. It is so solid. Guys kind of throw these America melodies from about 3 or 4 of their past hits, and I wouldn't say rip them off, but sort of just for a few seconds of certain songs, they'll throw some of the melodies of their hits intermingled within the Christmas song. There's also, I think, 3 original songs on here. There's at least 2, and they're both great songs. You know, like this would be a great America album if it wasn't Christmas songs. Period. You know, those 2 original songs, or I think there might be 3, are really good songs. You know, they're not necessarily even really about Christmas, just about that time of year and family and stuff. But man, the usual American melodies and catchy songs and stuff, fully intact here. This was awesome to listen to. If you like America and you need some new Christmas music, man, you got to grab that. It's great. Here's just something interesting that I pulled out of the collection one day randomly. I picked it up 5 years ago and heard it once. This is Sea Level offshoot of the Allman Brothers mid-70s lineup. Chuck Leavell on piano, Lamar Williams bassist, went on to form these guys. This is their 1978 album. Let's see, who's the other members here? Jimmy Knowles, Davis Causey, and Joe English. Real sort of fusion. Oh, Randall Bramblett, sax player, multi-instrumentalist. And real sort of mix of styles here. Their thing was this sort of fusion of blues and jazz. And that's here, but there's a little bit of pop in here too, pop rock, you want to call it. It's a definite mix of styles and really pretty good, I have to tell you. This was a good pickup a few years ago for $5 or something. It's still in great shape. And I gave one more play to Sound Barriers Total Control a couple weeks ago. Guys, that's going to do it for the monthly haul. 21 new things came in through the door, going from the beginning of December to the middle of January. And you know what? We'll be doing it again before you know it. Already have at least a dozen things to tell you about, if not more, next edition. Guys, catch us all later.